Alrighty. I think we got it working. Good morning, good evening, good day, and good night. Whatever it is, wherever you are. Oh boy. What a day. How's everybody doing this fine afternoon? Or as it would be a fine afternoon here in Canada. Ow. Yum yum, powder potatoes. Absolutely fantastic. Alright. Just kinda forgot to open one note before we started. There we go. Thanks. And this is a little loud. Down just a little bit. Alright, let's do this. Okay, so we have a few things to write today. Couple of things. So, those of you that do not know, there has been some things done in the world of the Fractured Shores, and as such, a few things have happened. So, if you are familiar with my Discord, I know I'm saying I'm advertising this, but if you are familiar with my Discord, then you'll know about this thing, which is we have some games coming up that people can sign up for. I'm going to move you over here. Yes. 3 of them, in fact, can be signed up by anyone. So, specifically, Boulder Marked Cave, Crimson Colored Cave, and Amberwood's Defense. All 3 of these can be played by anyone currently in the inside of the living world, as well as anyone who wishes to sign up for it can also join. As a result, these are wide open. There is one, of course, that I've mentioned here, which is the Telltale Traders, which is currently not open to anyone in particular. There is, I guess, a specific case in which you could join that one, but there would have to be significant amounts of conversation for that. That aside, we're going to do a little bit of writing for these. So, we're going to focus primarily on the Boulder Marked Cave, because the Crimson Colored Cave is one of those ones where I have to keep everything I can about that one under my hat, because that involves a certain, specifically that one, involves a certain character / entity that I need to keep any extra information that is available on him under wraps, as it were. Keep it a little on the DL. So, we will be writing. Wait, who signed up for this? Was that Druid? Druid signed up for the Crimson Cave. Of course she did. Of course she did. Alrighty. So we have a couple of options. We have a 1-session combat-oriented session. We have a 1 to 2 session, primarily exploration oriented game, and then we have a 2 to 4 exploration and combat-driven sort of game. The social-oriented one, which is gonna be a little bit more of like a how do I say this? A not murder mystery, a mystery, a detective's search kind of approach to the game, will be conducted primarily by crew members of the Telltale Fleet. If someone wants to join in on that one, there are other things that there's other forms of baggage that come with that. I should actually put others. I should also put everyone in there with specificity that I need to be talked to about it. So, we can worry about that one later. And I actually just thought of something. I really should change the title here. Update title. Want to play? Just ask. There we go. We're going to update the tiles a little bit here. Alright, so with that out of the way. Whoa, I didn't want to do that. There we go. We're going to get into some writing. So first off, excuse me, we need to do a few things here. So let's get out the good old notepad, because it's easier for me to just think in notepad and then transfer it over afterwards. So, boulder marked cave. Now, I'll actually double check something on my notes here, which is, I think it might need to be something a little bit different, which is actually boulder marked grave, not cave. Covered in... Okay, so here's the bit of information that I've made note of already. So, we have a dungeon marked by a boulder in a foggy grove within the Titan's garden. Has been discovered. Beyond the boulder lies a massive, filthy room. It's covered in ash, dirt, and broken stone. Now, there's one thing I actually should do here, which is I'm actually going to ditch the headphones. I don't really need them. There we go. All right. So, what we have so far is, well, we need a few things. So we need location, we need player base, we need level of difficulty, Let's see, what else do we need here? We need a few other things. We need theme. We have type of game. And I think that's mostly it. So, a few things. So we have Titan's Garden. We know it's in there already. Which is Giant Country. Titan's Garden. We need to have a more specific location. There isn't one already there, but we do know it's in a foggy grove. So we know a few things. So this is all like randomly generated, by the way, so far. And I like using random generations from tables because it forces me to write in different ways than I normally do, or things I don't normally write for. Tables are great because they force you to expand your thinking. It also forces you to make things work in ways that don't normally work, so it challenges you to work harder or work more creatively. Man, those potatoes are spicy. Popeyes, I'll do it to you. So we have Titan's Garden, Foggy Grove. Here's the question: do we want it near or away? Now the location is found already. I believe I gotta double check that actually. Has the location been found? Discovered. Beyond the boulder lies a massive... Okay, yes. Alright, just double checking to make sure that I didn't misrepresent my notes here. So, it has been discovered. And we know where it is. So, next question is how did it get found? It got found by somebody kind of scouting around trying to find stuff. So, in a Foggy Grove, there's a lot of things that we can do with a thing at the bottom of Foggy Grove, especially in a giant area. So, location Foggy Grove, we'll say it is designed to be a 1-2 shot. Oh, that's the other thing I need to have in here. Length of game. Let's just get this in here. And I should actually change this from player base to number of players. Theme, game type. So the game type is going to be exploration. Now that does not mean that there won't be combat. It just means that if we have a 4-hour game, or if we have 2 sessions, so 1 to 2 sessions. So let's go with length of game. It is a 1 to 2 sessions. So that means that we have approximately, so this means approximately 6 hours. Approximately 6 hours. So if we have, say, 6 hours, that means that probably somewhere between somewhere more in the ballpark of 3-ish to maybe 4 of all those hours, probably closer to 3, will be dedicated towards exploration. Hey, Nano. How's it going, bud? Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being here, as always. All right. Number of players. Ideally, so generally speaking, it goes with whatever. Sorry, not whatever. Whomever shows. Whoever signs up, I should say. Luna, what do you got? Oh, your bone? Okay, proceed. I'm good. Feeling good. Took a shower. Just hanging out with someone was a nice time. Nice. That is always a good time. All right. What? No. Off. Go lay down. No. Go lay down. Okay. Damn dog. All right. So whomever signs up, but ideal would be 3 to 5. Ideal would be 3 to 5. Minimum. There is no minimum. I'm willing to run a game for I'm willing to run a game for one person. When people ask, hey, why is only one person here? It's just my answer is, well, nobody signed up. Like, nobody. It's been there for 2 weeks. Nobody signed up, and there you go. If you want in on a game, then there you go. Sign up next time. All right. Ideal would be 3 to 5. I can always run it beyond that. Tier 1. Tier 1 of average difficulty. Not really looking to kill anybody with this one. It's gonna be one of those things if you're not paying attention, you're gonna get punished for it, and then you're gonna realize. And if you don't learn from mistakes, you're definitely gonna feel it. Average means that there's room for you to make mistakes. Theme. Well, so there's a couple of different things we can go here with here. We have it's in a grove, so we I'm just gonna actually shift the way that these are ordered a little bit here, because this is bugging me. Game length. Oh, we should actually put this right here. Type of game, exploration, game length, number of players, difficulty, so on. Okay, there we go. Theme. So we can go with a couple of different theme. We're gonna go change this to theme options. So we can go with giants. We can go with grove. whatever that actually ends up translating to, because we're in a foggy grove. So that can be a couple of different things. I actually need to open this up to a different spot here. Sign up. There we go. So can I sign up to everything then, even though I'm like a country away? So the only time that signing up for everything becomes a problem is when is really when it comes to two things: scheduling conflicts, and for both in-game and out-of-game. So for now, in this case, because there's only 4 things going, you're part of 2 of them as it stands. You can actually sign up for the other ones as well. The only thing is that because Nim is only one character, and can't teleport, it becomes one of those things where you can only be in one place at a time. Now, none of these, with the exception of Amberwood, requires immediate attention in terms of game time. So because that one requires immediate attention in game time, it's one of those things where, yes, we get to everything when we kind of can, but when it comes to timelines, we address things as things happen in timelines, and I'm going to address things on certain dates. I'm going to put in dates of when they're addressed. So because I know that not everybody is, like, you know, available all the time, and I'm only one person, I work full time, other people are only one people, and they also have work. Most people work or have other commitments to their lives. Excuse me. I understand that sometimes it takes 3 to 4 weeks before you can set up a game. So I'm not too hard on people about that. There are some things that I will put on the fast track in the future, especially as the player base grows. People, like, there are people available and all kinds of stuff beyond that. There will be times where I put stuff on the fast track, and if people can't make it, then it's one of those things where it's like, listen, if we have to deal with this, and we have to deal with this now, and there's no way for us to set up a game or have a game committed, then we're just gonna have to just spend the Marshall points to deal with it, rather than us dealing with it ourselves. Yes, you do get proficiency with a vehicle. Vehicle, by the way, meaning like a wagon or a cart. Generally, this doesn't matter too much. This just means that if you end up in a chase sequence where it matters, it means that you have proficiency in it, which +2 can mean a lot when you're dealing with stuff like that. Okay, so giants, so grove, so this I needed to actually double check a few things. So this means I can I get to really kind of lean on the giant territory sort of thing. So there's a lot of really cool mythologies and mythos and things like that that I can put with that. No airships. Unfortunately, you cannot have proficiency in airships. That is a very specific thing that is not accessible to this part of the world that the game is currently taking place in. Airship technology is not generally available, so you're not able to actually have proficiency in airships. I apologize. If you were from Wingdom, I would allow you to take it. If you were from Interdag Stark, you could also take it. But again, those are the 2 places just happen to not be on the continent system that allows for that proficiency. But it would be funny. It would be funny, yes. It'd be one of those things, like, if you got time to train for it because you knew somebody that knew how to fly an airship, and then you spent a significant, and when I say significant, I'm talking like months of time learning how to fly an airship, then sure. But in general, unfortunately, no. You cannot have that as a given. Well, crimes might come in handy. Yes. Yes. Extorting someone in the future might be useful. You guys have a lot of criminal activity amongst the heroes, ironically. I think it's like one of your higher pools at ATM. I gotta double check. It's in... Oh, I'm in the wrong section here. I think it's like one of your deeper pools at the moment. Criminal is... Oh, it's your third highest. No, never mind. It's the fourth highest. It's actually your lowest pool that you actually have significant amounts in. You have very little commerce and very little exploration amongst your team. The fact that there's very low in commerce is not surprising because there hasn't been any obvious real uses for it yet. I mean, you always have criminals. Like, criminal activity is always handy. Getting, selling ill-gotten goods, extorting people, stealing research, all those kinds of things is handy. It's always good to have a crime pool in your back pocket so that if you need something, like, dealt with and you don't have the other pool, you have a way of doing it. For example... Because you have a deep enough crime pool, you can actually deal with a lot of stuff that your exploration and your commerce is not actually providing to you right now. Alright. I'm going to throw away my little thing here of no longer powder potatoes. And then we're going to get back to writing. Okay. This is also good because that means that you guys actually have access, or actually have it. You guys have a blacksmith now, so there's actually uses for things like the mithril that's just been sitting there for like the last 3 weeks. Someone's gonna have a mithril suit of armor. Probably. We'll see. Don't know who, but we'll see. Alright. Giants, groves. We can also go with, something that's also pretty common amongst the giant territory is dwarves. So we can have a dwarven, theme. What else is common in these areas? Let's put it on Nizo. Make his ridiculous AC even higher. I mean, maybe... Well, to be fair, this just means that he can wear medium, he can wear full plate. So his AC doesn't actually get that much higher from it because he wants to... Because, the main reason he gets so much armor class is because he's using, like, the best armor he can with his shield. Like, he has really, really good... And he has the dexterity to boost it. Like, he's not going to be able to stretch it much higher without, like, pluses on his equipment. He also currently doesn't have access to, that mithril because he's on the ship and he is very far away from where the scales are currently operating. All right, dwarves. So we can do any of these themes. This is for the world characters, not for the player characters, or not for the campaign characters at the moment. The campaign characters are still contributing, but it's because it's just so broad scale. Specifically, the materials are part of the camp that has not been established yet. Because eventually you guys are going to need a base of operations. Let's see here. Do we have any other obvious themes that we can kind of lean into in giant territory? What's commonly associated with giants when it comes to D&D? Common D&D commonly paired with giants. What creatures hang around giants? There's a good question. All right. Carrion eaters. Remorasses. goblins and hobgoblins and things of that nature. Stone giants mostly hang out by themselves, though they usually have things like Zorns, Manticores, and Flumps near them. Fire giants are slavers. Cloud giants. They hang out with other things such as griffins and raise rocks and stuff like that. And then storm giants live alone, some far off corner of the world. Storm giants are known for appreciating guests. Indeed, they are. We're gonna avoid the storm giants because we're going underground. So we can get a loss. So let's get something that has other stuff associated with it. So let's go with giants and then a giant associations. So let's start with giant. So let's start with the theme of giants. Let's go with, we can go with either fire giants, frost giants, hill giants. It's in a foggy area. Go with cloud giants. Cloud giants are generally, I believe, neutral, however, so this will be a little bit more on the interesting side. I gotta double check giants here. Not the cloud giants. Cloud giants, high and mighty, are sworn to spread the winds. However, they, I believe the cloud giants are the ones that. Which one's the cloud giants? Cloud giants the one that have the little fangs, I think. Neutral good or neutral evil. It's a 50-50. Okay, so they're pretty commonly there. Spread the winds, accompanies in the areas, band together as a unified clan. However, they seldomly do so quickly. Attuned to magic of their airy domains, cloud giants are able to turn into mist and create clouds of billowing fog. They dwell in castles on high mountain peaks or on solid clouds that once held their fiefs. Still gracing the skies on occasion, these magic clouds are lasting remnants of giants' lost empire. Better spellcasters than most giants, some cloud giants can control weather, bring storms, and steer the wind almost as well as their cousins, the storm giants. Although cloud giants are lower in the ordering than storm giants, who boost the storm, a bunch of things downhill. Also remember the Portalmancer idea. I was thinking of another idea where you can extend the range, your range attacks by shooting them through a portal, and if you have a melee weapon, you can yeet it and then just TP it back to you with, well, portals. That's a cool idea. Okay. It can be down, so let's have this actually in a grove. Okay, so location. So let's go Foggy Grove. So Foggy Grove. It's still a half caster. Nice. Titan's Garden. Okay. Alright, Titan's Garden. A Foggy Grove. At the base of a cloud giant's castle. There we go. We have a cool little location. How it's gonna work. Honestly, it just sounds like something that you could make as, if it's intended to be a half caster, you could actually make it like a an artificer archetype or something like that. It might work better as something to that nature. Artificer. Well, what are the half casters? Artificers. I forgot to get rid of the lid. Artificers, ranger, or paladin. So I think if you lean into one of those three ideas, Like, if you're gonna make it a half caster, it needs to lean into like those kind of setups that they have, and then that's a good base to start from. Oh, okay. So, let's see here. Primarily exploration, but there will also be other things that can be effective. Combat's gonna be the number 2, and social will probably be the third. More than likely, assuming that it is purely them going into the cave and they don't decide to do something else. There's a few things I need to set up here. So let's the start. Let's start. There we go. And we're actually gonna do the start. So we need to figure out a few things. So that's something that we can put in later, the start. But so let's go with a few other things that we need to put in here to make up for this. So let's go with session 1 plan and session 2 plan. We have session 1 and session 2 plans, and then session 1, session 2. Put those both there. And we're gonna actually cut this, paste it there. The start. Okay. And then we're gonna go with more stuff for my immediate write out. So we're gonna actually just minimize this. We don't really need that up. So let's gonna go ahead and add and mess with this a little bit here. So we have. So let's go into a few details. Let's start by making some details here. And this should actually be this here. So more details. So let's start with the boulder. One. There is, in fact, a cloud giant's boulder. Now, what does this imply? This implies some of the following. Marked territory. Now, the thing is, I'm not just concerned about this being put up on stream beforehand, because these are a lot of like the basic outside things and things that I need to set up for the game that are going to be kind of immediately obvious. And furthermore, this is a lot of stuff that people, especially if they're experienced with the game, are just going to kind of know these things anyways, or expect these things. I'm not going to fill out the exact map or anything like that. I'm also only creating things for me to draw on when making the actual adventure stuff to start. This is all just preliminary notes for me to work from. Now, Mark's territory. Main thing it does is it marks territory. What else do we have here? We also have a few other things that are pretty important. We also have how big is the, or well, it's how big is it? So the size. So we want about a floor or 2, right? A floor or 2. This is really going to come back to the fact that I want a 1 to 2 or 2 sessions. Sessions in length of game. So what does that mean? That means that we're dealing with the fact that, and I'm actually going to do something here. I'm going to bring this over here for a second. We're gonna go to we're doing show. We're gonna go to world events. At page. There we go. We're gonna actually use the more traditional setup here. Put this in here. Folder marked cave. All right, cool. All right. Oh, yeah, that's correct. And then why is this? Oh, yeah. Also, what level are we starting at for the in the one shot? That's whatever level your character is at. So if your character is level 1, then you're starting at level 1. If your character is level 2, like Druid's character Adam is, then you're going to be at the one shot in level 2. If you're referring to the one for Sunken Treasure, I believe you guys are level 6 for that. It's level 5 or level 6. I can't remember. I have to double check exactly what where I left you guys at. Whether it was I was going to put you guys at level 1. I was going to either put you guys at level 5 for the I think I'm keeping you guys at level 5 until you start session 1 of your next of season 2 is I think what it was that I was doing. I can't remember exactly how I was intending to set it up. Nim is level 1, so Nim is level 1 is going to be level 1 for Amberwood's defense. Adam is level 2, so if Adam is taking care of that, then well, Adam is level 2. This is where the level and consistency is going to start happening with some of these things, because certain characters have been around slightly longer. It isn't going to be happening too often, and most times it will be only within a level anyways. Like, level 1 and level 2 is obviously a huge difference when it comes to, like, it's the biggest difference between levels, but there just isn't any way around that, because I'm not going to underlevel, I'm not going to impede someone unless it's necessary, and I'm not going to boost someone for no reason. So, all right, let's fix these. All right, the start, session 1, session 2. We're gonna just get rid of these, and then we're gonna go, boop, there we go. Get rid of this. Okay. And that's all good as is. Okay, so when a floor or 2, if you are. All right, so what are some other things? Okay, if we're starting at level 6, I would grab some more spells. Yeah. Like, if you guys are starting at 6, I think I have to double check a bunch of notes and set things up. And it depends upon how I'm setting up the one shot also. It is pretty much going to determine, and that's one of those ones where I can't really do that one on stream, because that one is going to be you guys trying to fishing through information, trying to put pieces of a trail together and things like that. It's one of those ones where it's a lot about the details, and I have to write based on details. So it's one of those things where I can't really write it on stream in ambiguous, like, kind of be vague about things at the same time. This is a simple dungeon, so I'm just setting myself up for things that operate inside that dungeon. So tier 1 difficulty. generally means that it's gonna have few creatures, some traps, some loot. When I say some, it's gonna be like more than few, but less than a lot. Some loot, obviously. This is one of those things where I have to pick the theme. So theme would be something like so the theme would be something like stuff that's good, stuff that's related. And we're not gonna do, you know what? We're not gonna do Cloud Giants. Cloud Giants is, well, we have the, so what is something that could be happening with the Cloud Giants? Because Cloud Giants, what's common amongst Cloud Giants? Things like rocks, griffins as pets, being good or evil on whole, harpies, aarakocras, giant eagles. All these are potential friends. These guarding, yes, we follow those entries. You may some nature-born creatures like treants or dryads. So I think the cave can be something relatively short and might be related to something else. A single floor. As the surface. As well as the surface. Alright. There's a couple of things I can do there. Doesn't know that there's a battle going on in Amberwood. He just happened to be there at a horrible time. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's like, oh. Well, this sucks. Alright. Go deal. I'll help. Related to either Cloud Giant, or creatures that are fighting, or creatures, or monsters in fights. One of the two. This needs to be addressed. It needs to be something else, but I don't know what yet. It can be, I think a good way to go approach this would be something that's a nuisance to a Cloud Giant that fits down in a grove. So we can actually go into a few things here. So few creatures. So let's go with a few things. This can be, this can always be something that's just hanging out underneath. So this could be goblins, Durgar, name and Underdark, monster. Durgar, there we go. I believe this is supposed to be capitalized. Yeah, name an Underdark monster. That should not be capitalized. Name an Underdark monster. So any of them. There can also be a bunch of other goodly things that can be related to it, especially if the Cloud Giant ends up being a good one. I have to roll for it. So Cloud Giants. It's a foggy grove, so it could also be other things that are here is like dryads, because it's down in a grove where there is also trees. Treants. Okay. I believe it's only one E. Is that how you spell treant? I can never remember exactly how to spell treants. Oh, tree ants, not ents. Trance. And another thing is we could also put in a unicorn. Foggy Grove. goblins, hobgoblins. This also means we can involve the drow, technically. We can always involve the dwarves. Other giants are also in there. These are all things that can be involved in that game, or in that game, inside of this kind of session. All these individuals can kind of fit the theme of the area. Now here's a question. Town nearby? Do you want a town nearby? I don't think so. I think maybe like 2-3 days out. Two or 4 days out. Two to 4 days away from the castle. It needs to be in a spot where like people would go to find stuff, and then that would be it. I have an idea. All right. Let's see here. 2-3 days out would be a place where people congregate. Oh, cloud giants, dryads, tree ant, unicorn, dwarves, other giants, hobgoblins, goblins, drow, Duergar, underdark monsters, name a thing beyond that. For the most part, these are pretty much the setup. So let's go with let's start with the setup. I still cannot forget about Mr. Second Chance. I mean, listen, it works. I think it's a great nickname of meanness. So the setup. So starting in at either the starting at the cave or approaching. I think we'll have a starting it on the not approving. Hold on, I think the dog's saying just Luna. It's just shoots the trans. That's fine. Luna, be nice. Okay. Starting at the cave or approaching the grove, I think is probably a better. Yeah, approaching the grove is probably a better. If it's starting with approaching the grove. So, so the few things that you need to do, need to find its exact location. Castle will be visible. Castle will be visible. We want to have at least 2 NPCs 2 to 4 NPCs to interact with. And this sort of like won't pick fights. For this to be 2 sessions long, we're gonna want 2 to 3 battles tops. Tops the most. Now, not at the most. 2 to 3 battles. More if more or less based on players, as always. That's a caveat. I have to just type the caveats down. You know, with 2 to 4 NPCs out there, you can always pick a fight with an NPC. It may not be in your best interest to do so, but you can always pick a fight with an NPC. Next question actually becomes boss question mark maybe. I don't know if I want to have a boss fight in this, or at least not traditional. Pick fights with NPCs, yeah. Maybe. It's fun. Sometimes. There are cases where it'll get you in a lot of trouble, though. Maybe. Not. There we go. Not 1v5. 1v players. If the case. But tavern brawls. Okay, that's not picking fights with NPCs. That's starting a tavern brawl, which I'm always all for a tavern brawl. Okay, main obstacle. So this is all the setup. The main obstacle will be traps and puzzles. Traps and puzzles. I spelled obstacles all wrong. Exploration focus. So of 6 hours, we have assume for about 1.5 hours of party RP and circle talk, which is basically the polite way of saying players fucking around doing absolutely nothing. Where you literally just go in circles and talk and get nowhere with it, just talking. And it doesn't actually do, and it's not even like good RP. It's just you talk in circles, which is what everybody does. Everybody does it. I'm all for RP. I'm all for people just sitting down and chatting. And that's why I count for about an hour and a half of it. So that leaves about 4.5 hours. Of 4.5 hours, we're gonna have 2 hours of exploration. We're gonna have about, and that leaves us with about 2.5 hours. We're gonna have 1 hour of socials. And then about an hour and a half of combat. So, the reason that I'm framing it like this is there's two things. There's a couple of things here, and this is part of the reason why I like the right to have the writing style I have, and the Frost Peak, and the Frost Peak one shot that turned into a 2-shot, I learned a lot from that, because I never ran a 1-shot that I didn't have like an entire day to run it. Which was, aside from technical issues, the main thing that was causing the slowdown was I didn't account for the extensive amount of RP that was going to happen. Which is all good and fine, because there's nothing wrong with RP. It's just I didn't expect it to be the amount that it was, which is bad on my part. Flashback to the tent. I mean, to be fair, the tent was actually just pure comedy. That was great. I love that. Like Ram is great for highlights. She's really, really good. She doesn't do a whole lot of talking, but when she does, she really leans in. It's really, really good. She's great. I love her. Like both her and Shadow are great. I love them both. They're great. They're great. They're both great when you put them together too, which I mean makes sense. What's this one? Oh, we got Shadow joining the Amberwood defense. That's awesome. Okay, so now here's the thing. This is just a baseline me kind of estimating. This is under the assumption that, and this is one of those things that one of the reasons why I like running the games that I do is that because this is low level, it can't go on for a very long period of time, and it's really simple when it comes to the actual combat. Nothing is particularly elaborate. Spellcasters only have a couple... Oh god, the frog is the only intelligent one. I know. And the frog is also mildly insane. So... Yep. Druid is unable to not embrace chaos. And it's great. You guys need a ranger or a druid or something. Filling in that exploration pool. Or even a cleric. You guys actually, the only cleric I think that's out there is actually who is it? It's Argon. It's the only cleric I think he's the only wisdom-based character, actually. I think about it. I think everybody else is either charisma, is either dexterity, intelligence, or charisma based. When it comes to like their main points. Like, yeah, there's some strong-based characters in there, like Lenora. Is it Lenora or Leora? Leora, sorry. And a himbo. Yes. To be fair, you're just defending a town, so it doesn't require an extensive amount of cleverness. Sitting there in a tower with a gun is a pretty good option in of itself. I'm waiting for the day that Shadow bugs me about that Song Blade though, because he's gonna want that probably. He's the only bard on the table. Although it is a weapon. It's a Song Blade, so I mean it's still good for anybody. It's a legendary weapon. It'll be good for anyone. Shadow's really good at different voices. I mean, if it means that no one's showing up, maybe. We'll see. Alright. So continuing onward with the other things here. So the main obstacles are traps and puzzles. So if we go with the assumption that exploration is going to be 2 hours, right? Because that's the main thing here. The biggest the biggest time sink is going to be a puzzle. Traps are pretty small. Traps, on average, take about 5 to 10 minutes to deal with. No, you'd know what a grunt is, probably. Like, you may not know them. You wouldn't know what they are specifically, but you'd like, oh, it's a frog person. It's like, you might not know their exact physiology. Nim's actually not a particularly intelligent individual, so maybe not. But it doesn't really matter. Like, you've definitely seen a lot of different kinds of people that's like, oh, a small frog person. Okay. Another kind of people out there. So, the next thing that's really important for solid 10 intelligence. Yeah, so, like, you have common knowledge. Like, that's the thing, is, like, even though it's a 10, you still know, like, everything that's common knowledge. Okay. So, we're going to actually shift this and put it here. So, main obstacle will be traps and puzzles. Traps on average take about 5 to 10 minutes to deal with. And this is like whether the trap triggers, dealing with the hit points, dealing with the description, dealing with the, actually disabling the trap, whatever the case may be. It's all of those things. So, those only take about 5 to 10 minutes. Describing rooms takes on average another 5 minutes per room. So this is another very important thing here. Most of the time, puzzles. Here's the problem with puzzles. Minutes per trap. Puzzles are the problem here, because puzzles can take anything from 10 minutes to an hour. And the thing about, and this really comes back to how good individuals at the table are at puzzles. And that is always a bit of a toss-up. Because some people get them like that. It's like riddles. Some people just get them like that. Other people, it takes them forever to figure something out. It's kind of like that, going back to the Family's Birthright tarot card puzzle. Now, that was a harder puzzle that I knew was going to take a significant amount of time, but I did not think it was going to take between 5 of them. I figured somebody would have been pretty good at a puzzle, and it turns out that was not the case. Now, it was a really, like I said, it was more of an intermediate to harder puzzle, anyways. At least by perception. So I left. So that's why it took so long. I was expecting it to take a while, but I didn't expect it to take. I think it was almost an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes before they finally finished with it. I was expecting it to take about 45 minutes to an hour, so it took longer than typical. Now, if we go with another thing here, if we assume that they're going to be tearing apart every room, looking for things, there's going to be lore, and lore can be anything. And lore can be like per room, for example. Lore can be 5 to 15. It's hard to say, depending upon what they find and what lore I write for it, because the thing is, I also write lore inside of this area as well, and that depends upon what it's associated with. And that's also per find. And the thing is that if I go with the assumption that we're going with, say, something like... Also, the music stopped for some reason. Yes, keep playing. I don't know why you're... Why aren't you continuing to play? Where is, Let's just go to the next one. That one's really, really quiet. That's kind of loud. There we go. That's a little bit better. Whew. Let's bring that down just a little. There we go. That's probably a pretty good spot there. So, we're already at... So, if we assume all this, we gotta get the calculator up. There we go. I accidentally opened Windows Defender. Did not want that. We get the calculator out. If we're assuming that we have, say, 5 minutes per room, and then we have, say, on average, 10 minutes per lore, and then we have, another 5 minutes per trap, that's 20 minutes a room. So if we have, say, 20 minutes a room, and we're looking to fill out 2 hours-ish, then we need to add about 3 rooms. So we have 3 or 4 rooms, and we're at an hour and 20 minutes. 4 rooms are at an hour and 20. Oops. Divided by 60. There we go. Is 1.3. So we're already at an hour and 20 minutes. So if we're at an hour and 20 minutes already, and then we add a puzzle, and we have to assume maximum for puzzle. Because you can always end early, you can't end late. So we assume maximum for puzzle. We have a grand total of just shy of 2 hours. Now, I think we can do maybe, and this is assuming that the puzzle is occurring in its own room. So we have 5 rooms. If we have 5 rooms that have traps, lore, and a description, and then we also have one of them that has the puzzle to solve the last thing. That puts us at 110 minutes, which is 10 minutes shy of a 2 hours increment. Now, with that in mind, if we have 2 rooms that are not really lore and not really traps, what is Shadow's Bard Boy called? I believe it was... it started with an M. I'm just gonna check the Discord. It's actually pretty good to check the Discord for that one. It was not Magnus. Delaxius. Sorry, Delaxius. His last name started with an M. Delaxius has a freaking accent of butter, man. Shadow's really good at doing voices. Like he just commits to it. I think is half of the reason why he's so good at it. Because I'm still like, even though I've done them so many times for so much and so long, I'm still apprehensive with my voices and everything still, which is part of the reason why they come out cracked and things like that. So if we're already at 100, so if we go with 4 rooms, puts us at about 4 rooms of about 20 minutes each. Puts us at an hour and 20 minutes. Plus puzzle. Also, music kind of got a little loud there. I didn't ignore it. I didn't ignore it. I'm just moving around a lot of things at once. Dan. I mean, there's no Dan at the table. So, you know, but if there was, it'd be interesting. And you can always, there's always a million ways you can set those up. For example, if you take Hopeless and rearrange the layers, you end up with P-Slosh, which is another fun thing. Plus 30 minutes. And that puts us at an hour and 50 of 2 hours. Of 2 hours, and I should actually put this, because I have to assume maximum. Thank you for this knowledge, almighty. I didn't even come up with that. That's from, what is that from? Battle Block Theater, which is an amazing game, and everybody should play it. And if you can't play it for whatever reason, just go and watch all the clips. The clips are... I giggled with laughter when I played and watched that game. Or giggled with enjoyment, I should say, is a better way of putting it. It's a very fun game. As long as you're playing it with co-op, the game is even better. And you're not playing that game right until you're mad at the person you're playing with. Oh, man. Okay, let's see here. So that puts us at about 2 hours. So we have 4 rooms. So 5 rooms. Total for exploration. Now, this doesn't mean actual rooms. This can also mean like outside. This can mean like there's 5 separate instances that kind of occur on the map. Is kind of the whole point. Now, combat. We are going to have what we're going to have so I've labeled it for an hour and a half. So this translates to this equals two fights. Now, why do I say 2 fights? This means we can either have a fast fight takes about 30 minutes. An average fight is about 45 minutes. Then a long fight, and this is, by the way, non-boss fights, is about an hour. And this is one of those things I actually have to put in here. Boss is usually somewhere in the realm of 2 hours. That kind of range. 2 hours plus. Most of my boss fights are 2 hours plus, mainly because there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things that people have to keep track of and try to consider and move around and things like that. Especially at lower level with high experience, with people that have experience playing the game, you end up in a position where people make decisions and take turns quickly, and fights end up being dealt with quickly as well. If it's a couple of peons, 30 minutes can be a lot of time to deal with a couple of peons. Average can take, now the extra 15 minutes on average is usually when it's one of those things like I have to explain a couple things, or a little bit more in depth, or give people a little bit of extra time. What's the pay like at Frost Peak for being a merc? Depends upon what the task is at hand. If you just want like general guard work, probably not that great, considering that they have a pretty good standing army of their own. Mercenary work in most cases is not really a thing that you just get hired and stay and as a mainstay. It's usually like a job, and then maybe you'll get hired for the next one as well. It's a lot of on a as needed basis. So, in this case, I'm looking for either two average. So, in this case, I'm looking for some combination that suits this. So, a fast and a long, 3 fasts, an average, and a fast, something of that akin to that. Now, the thing here is that this is one of the big secrets of being a DM. Is a lot of this is enigmatic. I can decide if I want to have more fights or less fights, like that. Just drop more units on the field. And this is one of those reasons why I like having the options as keeping a player screen as opposed to a DM screen, because that means that there's certain things hidden that you can't see on the player side, which is kind of the nice thing in a lot of ways, because you just can't see if I have stuff hidden that just go place it right on the field. So in this case, I'm looking for about 2 fights most of the time. So I'm probably going to go a short and a long. Now the long... So... Which is a half hour and an hour. And this can be spread out between two different sessions. So the question then becomes... We need creatures. What creatures are we going to do? Well, we need to pick. And it also depends upon what we're going to do with this. So we can figure out what it's going to be and all that later on. But the short... Let's actually do it this way. Will be similar number to party size. Few abilities, if any. And this can be something like guards, scouts, random monster. For the long one, this will be stronger and fewer and equal or less. Stronger and equal or less than party numbers. And then furthermore, I'm not feeling this one now. Let's go to the next. The stronger one. If I scroll this all the way down, is it gonna... No, it doesn't get... Oh, no, I actually specifically sized it to fit there properly. Good. Has anyone been bugging me? No. Huh? I have no idea. I haven't really concerned myself with that yet, especially considering that we ate kind of late. I know we didn't eat a lot, but still. Alright, let's see here. I should actually change this. If you want to join one or more There we go. One or more of the games give a thumbs up to it, or just me. There we go. That's better. Strong numbers. Some abilities. And this can be main force. Leaders. So it can be like, for example, leaders of the pack, or just a stronger pack, or one particularly strong creature. Probably not a particularly strong creature. You'll be all right. You'll be fine after like the entire session of him talking. You'll be fine by then, I think. It'll all be good. I have a piece of a nail stuck in the edge of my finger that's not aligning with the rest of the nail. There we go. I think I got it. Got it. Okay. That's bugging me a lot less now. This is good. Okay. Leaders, large monster group. Not warp. Large monster group. It can be a main force, it can be leaders, it can be large monster group. Those are the big things that can be. Fights are gonna be pretty easy. Those are mostly monster stat blocks I have to make. But all of this matters is accommodates. And this is a thing that's important here. Accommodates level 1. Accommodates first and second level. Characters. That is not how I used to have it. Sorry, but every time I write any sentence in English, I just question if it wrote correctly because it sounds weird. The hell, English? Yeah, that's okay. English is structured in a really... English is structured weird compared to most other languages, and that's why a lot of people, including people that speak it, have a lot of issues with it. So it's okay. Half the time we don't even know what we're writing either. Ow. Yep. Most people, including people that speak English, can barely English. So, no hard hits. No hard hitters. Well, I shouldn't say this. There's always a caveat as I can make it slightly different. But no hard hitters. Low spread. Low AoE. Easy to kill. Easy to kill players. And those are all things that I have to keep account of when dealing with this. Is that most of the people that would probably be in this, so I'm assuming that I'm probably going to get some new people involved in this. I'm hoping I can get some new people involved. And because of that, that means that there will be level 1 characters. I also expect there to be level 2 characters in there from the main from the main camp group right now, like from the world character groups. And the reason for that is because, well, I kind of expect a few people to kind of go, wait a minute, I can get in on something. I want in on it. And as a result, there's going to be events where people get involved. And I think that I'm hoping to get a couple of the level 2s. Level 2 characters involved right now. So, but the main thing I want is I want new players. I always want new players. I want new players. I want more people playing. And that way I have more people I can poke at and go, hey, I need people for this. Are you free on this day? Because I have 3 already and I have 2 spots open. Are you free on this day at this time? And go, you know, you're in the right level range and it makes sense for you to possibly be there. That'll be really good and useful. So that's the big thing for combat. I should actually do this. So next, oh, not that, is social. Now, this is one of those things where I have to be a little bit more on the careful side with what exactly I put down. Because basically there's an obvious thing, and I'm actually just going to make this publicly known now, is could talk to is Cloud Giant. Because this is going to be known to be nice. This is going to be one of those things that's going to be a piece of information that the party's already going to have from the town that they last checked in with on their way to this location. You know, Giant's known to be friendly. To peace creatures. Right? Now, this is one of those things where it's going to be either, like, people are going to know whether or not the giant is either good to go to or bad to go to. Right? People are going to know this. So, in this case, people just know that the giant... You know what? Let's actually roll that. I need a die roller. I don't have a die roller on hand. You know what? Actually, I do. All right. All right. So, roll one time, show last roll only. Oh, it doesn't matter, I guess. All right. Let's see. 50% of the time he's good and 50% of the time he's bad. So, let's see here. 50 and 51 and higher is good. All right, he's evil. To sinister. To creatures with a evil disposition. So he's neutral evil. So he's not, not really in the sense of neutral evil in the sense of like he's just going to kill you on the spot. It's like, I mean, he doesn't care much for good. So if you can... So that's always the one option. We're gonna have at least 1 to 2 NPCs. Well, we're gonna have the guide. And this will be helps to get to the grove. Cheers, Shadow. Appreciate the lurk. Helps get the grove. Oh my goodness. Might give some insights. And then we have 1 to 2 dungeon NPCs. So this can be monster creatures that party fights. This could be peaceful creature. That is mixed up in a problem. Random creature. Is there supposed to be like an extra E in there? It is an extra E in there. Okay. Random creature. Wandering. Something that lives there. Something that lives in the area, right? Like, we have a lot of options. All these kind of are the ones that make the most sense, however. So we'll stick with one of these. Pick 2 of them. And this is assuming, and these are like creatures that are there designed for you to talk to them. It doesn't mean that you can't talk to something that you would normally fight. It doesn't mean that you can't fight something that you normally talk to. It really comes back to whichever the party decides. But as a base, the idea is that there's a little bit of social. You know, if you talk to the cloud giant, then, you know, maybe it's gonna be maybe social will be extended a little further because you have other things that you're also dealing with. All right, it's getting kind of late. I'll head out. See you there. Cheers, Nano. Really appreciate you. You'll hear from me soon enough about scheduling those events in. Yeah, message Pika. Try and get the see if I can get him to jump on board that one shot. If not, then he's just gonna be hanging out on the ship, making sure nobody jumps on there, which is not necessarily a bad thing. All right. And all of these and any of these, this I'm actually expecting to take 10 to 20 minutes. And the reason for, I think I put social as an hour. Yeah. Now, part of this is me also going, hey, you know, I'm expecting an hour and a half of the party to be just doing absolutely, like, not moving the story forward for an hour and a half of the 2 sessions for 45 minutes per session. So there's that too. And this might be part of that. Social is usually the thing where that also happens. So we're going to account for that. The Cloud Giant, I don't expect it to be particularly long. I expect that maybe to 10 to 30 minutes. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit on the lower end. But I'm hoping a little bit less. And this can be 10 to 20 per. So, all in all, if max on all of them, we have 10, 20, 30, 40. We have about 40 to an hour and 10. To 1 hour and 10, and this is assuming like maximum expected amounts. And this is assuming if it goes longer, it's probably because the party is just rolling into each other a little bit. In total, I'm expecting something along the lines of maybe 50 minutes to an hour. So this is going to sit pretty well overall, in my opinion. And that's pretty much how this is set up. Now, when it comes to the grand scheme of other things, primarily in the details, this is going to depend a lot on what kind of creatures are going to be living here. So I'm already kind of starting to craft a few things and ideas here. So we have, so the setup is we have a cloud giant. So we have some sort. Now we don't actually have a theme of the area yet. So what is this place? It is covered in ash, dirt, and broken stone. So broken stone is implies a certain kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? Implies that it was once not broken. Valexion, welcome. Hello, greetings. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. How are you doing today? Ash, dirt, and broken stone. Sounds like a clay golem factory. Could be. Could be. This is what's inside of like the initial area. It's inside of a foggy grove at the bottom of a. It's in a grove at the bottom of a hill that has, or a mountain technically, that has a cloud giant castle, and the cloud giant castle is known to have an evil cloud giant in it. This is the premise that I'm currently writing with. So let's just take note of what we have here. So we have a cloud giant. We have evil cloud giant. Oh my goodness, hype. We have an evil cloud giant. We have clay, not clay. We have ash, broken stone, and what did I say? Ash, clay, or dirt? Filthy room. We have a filthy room. Ash, dirt, broken stone covering the room. So it's actually really important that it's ash, dirt, and broken stone covering the room, not just like sitting in random places. Cloud giant fills clouds with tadpoles, fish eggs, and they rain down on the town in the next storm. I mean, that is something that he could do, yeah. Not necessarily something that's important to this right now, because the main thing that's important is the cavern, is the grove with the cavern that was found within it. Now it's marked with the cloud giant stone. That's another thing that I need to actually put in here. Marked. So cave marked with the giant's stone. So it's marked in the sense that he knows it's there. So something is in there. Something about that place is important enough for him to mark it with a cloud giant stone. So ash is usually an indication of fire. I swear if this cloud giant has a golden goose and a magical harp. It doesn't. It doesn't have a golden goose and a magic harp. It's okay. So, let's talk about what these things mean. So, ash... Oops. So, ash means that... Means what? Means fire. And this can mean wood. It could mean that it was fire. It can mean wood. It can mean bodies. Body. Basically organic. The long and short of it is burned organic matter. Is really what it comes back to, is that there was something that was burned, and it was either moved in, and that it was either moved in, or made there. AKA fire was there. So I think we can do something to the akinment of it happened there. It was probably the one I'm going to go for. But we're going to figure that out in a minute. Burnt offerings of their parents, which is a deity. That could be a thing. That could be a thing. The ashes could be from any number of things. So maybe the ashes weren't there originally, but were there not as a thing that was there originally, but is something that was that happened as a result of somebody else moving in that's not supposed to be there. Dirt covering places generally means either left alone for a long time, well, I haven't decided that yet. Right, like I'm just kind of going with what is there, because I did a random generator to determine what is present, and this kind of makes me, and it forces me to learn to write in other ways, and this is kind of the reasons why I do it. Are valid information, exactly. But we're gonna get there. So probably not, but we'll get to that. So dirt generally means it was left for a long time because dirt fell from the ceiling. Is usually how it gets there, or was to cover something. So it's one of the two. Is usually what dirt on top of stuff means, not necessarily in the sense of. So the other one is broken stone. So broken stone implies. No, dirt, not dust, dirt. Otherwise, I would have said dust, because those are two very different things. Dust is like dead skin cells of a creature is usually what dust is. Whereas dirt it's earth. Two very different kinds of scenarios in that case. Broken stone implies that it was worked. So it can be structures. It can be furnishing. It's usually the two things that you have made out of stone. What was the description exactly? Covered in ash, dirt, and broken stone. Massive, filthy room. So, it could also mean that there is broken floor. It could also be from the intense heat of the flame. Exactly. There's a lot of things it can be from. But the main implication of broken stone implies that there was once